December 11th, 1941. Just 4 days after the attack on Pearl Harbor, Adolf Hitler strides into the Reichstag, the weight of destiny pressing on his shoulders. He is about to make an announcement that will forever shape the fate of Germany. Dear friends, if this video has reached you, it's not by chance. Right now, click the subscribe button and the notification bell. Write a number from 1 to 5 in the comments. I will personally respond to the first 50 comments, and make sure to watch the video until the end. Meanwhile, barely 12 miles from Moscow, the reality on the Eastern Front is nothing short of catastrophic. German soldiers are dying by the thousands in the merciless Russian winter. Operation Barbarossa has ground to a halt. 6 days earlier, the Soviets unleashed a ferocious winter counteroffensive. Reinforcements from Siberia are arriving, and Hitler's once mighty army finds itself trapped in the harshest winter Russia has seen in over 2 centuries. Temperatures plunge to -40 degrees Fahrenheit. Men succumb to frostbite, their fingers and toes turning black and stiff. Tanks refuse to start. Rifles jam with frozen mechanisms. And yet, in the midst of this nightmare, Hitler is preparing to declare war on the United States of America, the world's industrial colossus, the so-called arsenal of democracy, a nation that, until mere days ago, had remained officially neutral. History often paints this as sheer folly, an act of blind arrogance. Hitler, it is said, decided to take on the globe's greatest industrial power while his soldiers perished in the Russian snow. But the truth is far more intricate. By December 1941, the United States and Germany were already engaged in a shadow war. American destroyers prowled the Atlantic hunting German U-boats. German submarines sank American vessels. 115 American sailors had already lost their lives. Roosevelt had issued shoot-on-sight orders, and American military planners had committed to a Germany-first strategy well before Hitler ever raised his pen. So, was Hitler's declaration merely stupid? Absolutely. But was it also inevitable? This is the story of 4 days in December 1941 that changed the course of history. We will explore what Hitler was thinking, why, in his distorted logic, the declaration made sense, what was already unfolding in the Atlantic that made conflict unavoidable, and ultimately, why this decision sealed Germany's doom. But to understand December 11th, we must first look back to December 5th. 6 days before Hitler spoke, the wheels of disaster were already turning. Imagine standing on the frozen outskirts of Moscow on December 5th, 1941. Operation Barbarossa, Hitler's grand invasion of the Soviet Union, is collapsing. The Soviets unleash a massive counteroffensive along a 500-mile front. Over 1 million fresh troops strike the exhausted Germans, soldiers who have been slogging through the campaign since June 22nd. For 5 months, Barbarossa had been the largest military operation in history. 3 million German soldiers, 3,000 tanks, 2,000 aircraft. Hitler had assured his generals that the Soviet Union would crumble like a fragile house of cards. It did not. By early December, the German army had pushed to within a dozen miles of Moscow. Officers could make out the Kremlin through their field glasses, yet the city remained untouchable. The winter of 1941-42 is brutal, the coldest Moscow has endured in over 2 centuries. Temperatures plummet to 40 degrees below zero. German soldiers are unprepared. No winter uniforms, tanks that won't start, rifles that freeze, men losing fingers and toes to frostbite. And then the Soviets strike. Fresh divisions from Siberia veteran soldiers trained for winter warfare, equipped to survive the extreme cold smash into the German lines. These troops, previously guarding the border with Japan, have been freed to fight west thanks to the intelligence of Richard Sorge, a Soviet spy in Tokyo. On September 14, 1941, Sorge delivered a message that would alter the course of the war. Japan would not attack the Soviet Union, choosing instead to move south towards Southeast Asia and Pearl Harbor. Stalin, fearing a two-front war, could now redeploy Siberian divisions, tanks, and aircraft against the Germans. And so, on December 5th, the exhausted, freezing German army suddenly faces well-equipped professional troops in their own element. The offensive falters, and soon retreats. 2 days later, December 7th, Japan strikes Pearl Harbor. Over 2,400 Americans die. 8 battleships are destroyed or damaged. On December 8th, the United States declares war on Japan alone. Roosevelt's speech makes no mention of Germany or Italy. To Hitler, this seems like an unexpected windfall. If America is preoccupied with the Pacific, he thinks, he may have precious time to crush the Soviet Union before the United States can fully mobilize. But Hitler cannot see what Roosevelt, Churchill, and their generals already know. A war with Germany is inevitable. What most people fail to understand about December 1941 is this: America and Germany were already at war, even before Hitler officially spoke. Not in name, not in law, but in every sense that truly matters, America had stepped onto the battlefield. Picture the date, March 11, 1941. 9 months before Pearl Harbor would shatter the Pacific, Congress passes the Lend-Lease Act. This wasn't just legislation, it was a declaration of practical allegiance. The law allowed the United States to funnel weapons, ammunition, food, and supplies to Britain, and even the Soviet Union, without demanding immediate payment. Roosevelt had already painted the vision months earlier, in December 1940, when he proclaimed America as the arsenal of democracy. By December 1941, this machinery was roaring to life. Convoys of trucks, tanks, aircraft, and rifles surged into Britain, and supplies began to flow to the Soviet Union. Was this neutrality? Not in the slightest. From Germany's eyes, the United States was arming its enemies, sustaining Britain's fight, equipping the Soviets to continue battling the Reich. But the support went beyond mere supplies. American ships didn't just deliver weapons, they protected the vessels carrying them. By September 1941, the U.S. Navy was escorting convoys across the Atlantic. Destroyers sailed alongside British merchant ships, scanning the waters with sonar, hunting German submarines. Make no mistake, this was an act of war in all but name. September 4, 1941. The USS Greer tracks a German U-boat for over 3 hours, transmitting its position to waiting British aircraft. The British strike. The U-boat, thinking the Greer itself is attacking, fires 2 torpedoes. Both miss. 1 week later, Roosevelt addresses the nation on the radio, calling it unprovoked German aggression. They fired first, he declares, and he commands the Navy to shoot any German vessel in American defensive waters on sight. Shoot on sight. That is not neutrality, that is war. Germany protests, arguing their submarine acted defensively after being hunted for hours. Both sides are technically correct, and both sides are now shooting. October 17, 1941, the USS Kearney is torpedoed by a German U-boat while escorting a convoy off Iceland. 11 Americans die. October 31, 1941. USS Reuben James. West of Iceland, a German U-boat strikes. The forward magazine explodes. The bow is obliterated. Out of 7 officers and 136 enlisted men, only 44 survive, and not a single officer. 115 Americans are dead. This is 6 weeks before Pearl Harbor. America and Germany are already locked in mortal combat in the Atlantic. Sailors are dying. U-boats are hunting American warships. And all the while, America is officially neutral. From Hitler's vantage, America was already an enemy, the only distinction being that no formal declaration of war had been uttered. Now, rewind to August 14th, 1941, 4 months before Pearl Harbor. Roosevelt and Churchill meet in secret aboard warships off the coast of Newfoundland. They issue a joint statement: 8 principles for a post-war world. Democracy, self-determination, freedom of the seas, disarmament of aggressor nations. Think about that. Roosevelt is officially neutral. Congress has declared peace. Yet here he is, on a warship with the British Prime Minister, plotting the world after the war. Not if the Allies win, when. Hitler reads the Atlantic Charter and understands perfectly. Legal alliances aside, America and Britain were partners in every meaningful way. Roosevelt had broadcast the message to the world. America's fate was tied to Britain's victory. So, when Pearl Harbor strikes 4 months later and Roosevelt asks Congress to declare war on Japan, Hitler faces a decision, one shaped by a pact forged over a year earlier. September 27, 1940. Berlin, Germany, Italy, and Japan sign the Tripartite Pact, a mutual defense agreement. Article 3 states they will assist one another if attacked by a nation not yet involved in the war. The target? Obvious: the United States. But here's the nuance. Japan attacks America. America does not attack Japan. Technically, Germany is not obligated to act. Hitler could have argued he was free. Yet between December 7th and December 11th, 1941, the die is cast. December 2nd, 5 days before Pearl Harbor, the Japanese ambassador in Berlin asks the German Foreign Ministry, if Japan goes to war with the United States, will Germany join? No immediate answer. December 5th. Japan asks Italy. Again, no immediate response. December 8th. 1 day after Pearl Harbor, Japan formally requests Germany and Italy declare war on the United States. December 9th and 10th. Hitler deliberates. December 11th, 1941. Hitler addresses the Reichstag in what witnesses called a frenzied speech. He blames Roosevelt for the war, accuses him of being manipulated by Jewish influence, accuses the United States of crimes against Germany, and declares war on America. Italy issues an identical declaration the same day. The three powers formalize a joint agreement. Article 1. Germany, Italy, and Japan will wage war jointly against the United States and Britain. Article 2. No separate peace or armistice without complete agreement. And in a twist of cynicism only Hitler could conjure, the declaration itself admits its own nature. It is propaganda. He literally brands his declaration of war as propaganda. After reading the declaration to the American diplomat, Foreign Minister Ribbentrop erupted in fury. "Your president has wanted this war. Now he has it," he shouted, his voice cracking with rage. Without another word, he spun on his heel and stormed from the room. The Germans believed Roosevelt had been maneuvering toward war all along, and perhaps they were not entirely wrong. But what was Hitler himself thinking? Why, in his mind, did this act appear rational? Hitler's perception of America was a tangle of admiration and contempt, a web of contradictions that shaped his decision. On one hand, he respected certain aspects of American law, specifically the racial statutes of the United States. When Nazi legal scholars drafted the Nuremberg Laws in 1935, they explicitly studied and cited American segregation policies. Hitler even wrote in Mein Kampf, "The racially pure and still unmixed German has risen to become master of the American continent." To him, the United States was a nation that could simply exclude entire races, a legal structure he found both efficient and admirable. In conferences of Nazi jurists, the first agenda item was often U.S. race law. The Jim Crow South became a model, a blueprint for racial control. Yet at the same time, Hitler despised America. He viewed its society as mongrelized, racially mixed, weak, and morally corrupt. Democracies, he believed, were inherently inferior to dictatorships because they could not make the hard decisions required of a strong state. Hitler's reading of American history reinforced this prejudice. He noted America's delayed mobilization in World War I, a nation that took 2 years to prepare for war, and assumed he could conquer the Soviet Union before the United States could raise an army. But here lay his critical blind spot. It wasn't American society he misunderstood. It was America's industrial might. And that miscalculation would prove fatal. Here is the twist that changes everything. The Germany First strategy had been decided months before Hitler's declaration, long before Pearl Harbor, long before December 11th. American and British military leadership had already agreed. If the United States entered the war, Germany would be the primary target. This decision was made at the ABC-1 conference in Washington between January 29th and March 27th, 1941. 9 months before Pearl Harbor, planners from America and Britain met in secret to anticipate the consequences of American involvement. Their conclusion was clear. Germany posed the greatest threat. It possessed the strongest military in Europe, the capacity to crush Britain, advanced weapons programs, and U-boats threatening Atlantic supply lines. Japan, while dangerous, was secondary. The priority was explicit: defeat Germany first, then handle Japan. Hitler's declaration didn't trigger Germany first. Germany first had already rendered his choice catastrophic. Had America prioritized Japan, Hitler's declaration might have been nothing more than a historical footnote. But that was not the case. America declared war on Japan on December 8th. Hitler declared war on America 3 days later. When Congress voted to accept Germany's declaration, the outcome was unanimous, no dissenters. Compare that to Japan's declaration: 1 dissenting vote. For Hitler, this was the moment he handed Roosevelt exactly what he needed. The United States, freed from domestic political constraints, could implement a strategy planned nearly a year earlier. On December 11th, Hitler had 3 options. Option 1: declare war on America. This would formalize an ongoing conflict, show solidarity with Japan, allow U-boats to attack American ships without restriction, but it would also bring the world's industrial giant fully into the war, remove any possibility of negotiation, and guarantee Germany's destruction. Option 2: maintain the fiction of peace. By pretending war did not exist, he might keep America's focus on Japan, preserve a slim chance of negotiation. But in reality, U-boats were already sinking American ships. Pretending to be neutral would betray Japan, fail to alter American strategy, and make Hitler appear weak, a fatal flaw for a dictator obsessed with strength. Option 3: break with Japan. This would avoid war with America and allow Germany to concentrate on the Soviet Union, but it would also cost Germany its only major ally, risk Japanese reconciliation with America, and broadcast weakness. Hitler chose the first option. He declared war, and in doing so, he guaranteed Germany's destruction. Because the truth is stark: America and Germany were already at war in everything but name. Lend-Lease had made the United States Britain's primary supplier. American destroyers escorted convoys across the Atlantic. American sailors were already dying to German torpedoes, under orders to shoot on sight. The Atlantic Charter had cemented a strategic partnership between the United States and Britain. And the Germany First strategy meant that, should America enter the war for any reason, Germany would be the primary target. Hitler's declaration did not change American behavior, it merely formalized it. Had Hitler attempted to maintain peace, U-boats would still have sunk American ships. America would still have been supplying Germany's enemies. American destroyers would still have hunted German submarines. The only difference would have been perception. Hitler would appear weak. For a dictator whose ideology revolved around strength and will, Such an appearance was unthinkable. By declaring war, Hitler sealed Germany's fate. What he failed to comprehend was what America was about to become. Between December 1941 and May 1945, the United States would produce 300,000 aircraft. Germany, by comparison, managed only 119,000. The industrial juggernaut had begun rolling, and Germany was directly in its path. Imagine a nation that, in less than a decade, can outproduce every adversary it faces. By 1945, the United States had built 88,000 tanks. Germany? 67,000. The Americans rolled out 2,700 Liberty ships more tonnage than every other nation combined. Factories never slept. Women flooded the workforce by the millions. Entire industries transformed in mere months. Take Ford's Willow Run plant. At peak production, it turned out one B-24 Liberator bomber every 63 minutes. One bomber per hour. In 1944 alone, this single factory produced 92 million pounds of airframe weight, more than half of Germany's total annual bomber production, nearly equal to all of Japan's output for the year. And that's just one factory. Meanwhile, Henry Kaiser's shipyards revolutionized shipbuilding, cutting Liberty ship construction from 230 days down to 42. One ship, the SS Robert E. Peary, was completed in 4 days, 15 hours, and 29 minutes, from keel laying to launch. A full ocean-going cargo ship in barely 5 days. This was what Hitler had declared war on. Not simply the US military as it existed in December 1941, but the industrial juggernaut capable of transforming the entire nation into a war machine. And by doing so, Hitler guaranteed several things. First, Germany was now waging a two-front war, the Soviet Union to the east, Britain and America to the west, eventually with forces in Italy and France. No nation can survive those odds. Second, Germany would face overwhelming material superiority. The combined industrial output of America, Britain, and the Soviet Union meant that in every metric, tanks, planes, ships, rifles, Germany was outnumbered. Third, it didn't matter how elite your soldiers were, how brilliant your generals, or how advanced your tactics. None of it mattered when the enemy could replace every loss twice over. Fourth, Germany would face strategic bombing. American B-17s and B-24s joined British bombers in laying waste to German cities, factories, and infrastructure. Fifth, Germany lost any hope of negotiated peace. Article 2 of the Joint Axis Declaration explicitly forbade separate agreements. Hitler had locked Germany into a fight to the death. Was Hitler's decision to declare war on America in December 1941 stupid? Catastrophically so. Declaring war on the world's greatest industrial power while your army is freezing just 12 miles from Moscow is a miscalculation of historic proportions. It guaranteed defeat. It brought the full might of American industry and military into the European theater. It gave Roosevelt the political cover to pursue Germany first. It was arrogance, misjudgment, a fatal strategic blunder. Yet here lies the paradox. Economist John Kenneth Galbraith, who had served in Roosevelt's administration, later reflected on what might have happened had Hitler chosen differently. When Pearl Harbor happened, he said, we were all in agony. The American public's mood was obvious. They were determined that Japan must be punished. We might have been forced to focus entirely on the Pacific, leaving Britain and Europe with only minimal support. When Hitler declared war, it was utterly irrational, but it saved Europe. Think about that. Hitler's catastrophic blunder may have been the single act that guaranteed Allied victory. Without it, Roosevelt might have diverted nearly all resources to the Pacific. Britain and the Soviet Union could have faced Germany alone, with American aid redirected to the war against Japan. Was the declaration inevitable? Look closely at December 1941. America and Germany were already at war in everything but name. American sailors were dying. German U-boats were sinking ships. Lend-Lease was arming Germany's enemies. The Germany First strategy had already been decided 9 months earlier. If the US entered any war against anyone, Germany was the primary target. The Tripartite Pact obligated Germany to support Japan, and Hitler's ideology made admitting weakness impossible. So yes, the declaration was stupid. Could Hitler have avoided it? Probably not. Was Germany doomed either way? Absolutely. By December 1941, Germany had already lost the war. They just didn't know it yet. Operation Barbarossa had failed. The Soviet Union was not collapsing. Siberian divisions were pushing the Wehrmacht back. Britain was still resisting. Atlantic convoys were getting through. And America, war declaration or not, was already the arsenal of democracy. Hitler's declaration on December 11th didn't cause Germany's defeat, it merely confirmed it. And in a final, bitter irony, by resolving Roosevelt's political dilemma and uniting Congress behind the war, Hitler may have inadvertently ensured the liberation of the very Europe he had sought to conquer. Now imagine yourself in Hitler's shoes on December 11th, 1941. What would you do? Declare war? Seek peace? Something else entirely? Every option was disastrous. Every choice carried consequences that reshaped the world.